You ever open up to somebody hoping that you were going to get support and you left that conversation feeling confused, dismissed, and pissed off? Maybe you even started to think, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Talkticians, welcome and welcome back. My name is Tatiana. I teach communication strategies to help you master conflict resolution. So, in today's video, we are unpacking the powerful difference between gaslighting and tough love. We'll talk about the impact that both approaches have on the person that is struggling with their mental health. And I'm going to include some important questions that we need to ask ourselves before we engage in these conversations to make sure that we're being helpful and not harmful to the people that we love. So, what is gaslighting? It's a manipulative tactic that people use to distort the other person's reality. The whole goal is to make the other person feel like they don't know what the heck that they're talking about. It creates doubt and it makes the other person to basically second guess themselves. Now, why would anybody do that? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but we don't got the time to go through all of them. So I'll just give you a few. The first thing is they want to maintain control. Let's be honest. You're just an easier person to manage. You're an easier person to control if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, or if you feel like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you see this tactic used everywhere: toxic families, toxic workplaces, romantic relationships, anywhere where somebody wants to continue to be in control. People use this tactic to avoid accountability. Whatever grievance you just shared with that person, it made them feel attacked. It made them feel ashamed. So instead of using some self reflection, it's just easier to put things back on you. The third thing is they just may not know any better, to be quite honest. A lot of people don't have formal training in healthy communication. Some people that use this technique are monsters, and some people are not. They're literally just going by what it is that was taught in their households. We're not here to judge that. I just want you to understand what it is and what it sounds like so that you don't get stuck in the trap. Now, if you're wondering if you've ever been gaslit, I'm going to give you a couple of examples so that you can hear exactly what it sounds like. What I want you to notice in these statements is, who is the blame shifted to? You always make a big deal out of nothing. That is minimizing. It is gaslighting. Girl, you doing too much. You too sensitive. That's invalidating. It's also gaslighting. Well, it's your fault that things are like this. That is blame shifting. It is also gaslighting. I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened. That's called denial. And it is also gaslighting. At the end of it, gaslighting does not hold that person accountable. Using the technique doesn't help the person to grow or reflect. The goal here is to throw the other person off balance, and that is not love. So in my last video, we talked about tough love and the use of that in mental health conversations. So if you want some tips, make sure that you check that video out. I'm going to read this definition because I can never remember it. Tough love is defined as the stern, unsentimental treatment motivated by love intended to promote responsible behavior. So, what that could sound like: I want the best for you, but I'm not going to continue giving you money when you make choices that harm you. If you want some help, let me know. I'm going to be here. When somebody brings up something maybe that you don't agree with, you could say something like, your feelings are valid, and I want us to find a healthy way to talk about it so we can work through it. Instead of saying, you're the one that's the problem, you can say, we are both responsible for what we bring into this dynamic. So let's figure out a way to work together. Person says something, you don't know what the hell they're talking about, but you still want to acknowledge their experience. You say, we clearly experienced that situation differently, but can we both talk about it in a way that's calm so that we're not blaming each other? All of these phrases demonstrate self-awareness, boundary setting, love for both oneself and the other person. Okay, so it takes a little bit more work, but it's necessary. Now, I know gaslighting can feel very comfortable because obviously it comes up when somebody is revealing an uncomfortable truth about you. But we don't want to sit in that because we actually want to grow. That's why we're sitting here, we're watching this channel, right? When we choose to use gaslighting as a way to not deal with the uncomfortable truth or push things back on the other person, especially when a person is struggling with their mental health, one, it creates confusion. It erodes trust. So we can't sit here saying, well, I want to have positive relationships and we're using gaslighting tactics. It creates a lot of anxiety in that person, and it may even lead to them completely shutting down and not talking at all. So I'm not saying that if you've ever used gaslighting that you are a horrible person. I'm sure that I've used it as well. We're all human, but I'm here on this channel explaining these things for the people who want to make a difference, for the people who want to change the dynamic of their relationship. So just be aware, that's the first step, is just being aware. It may take a while, it's going to take some practice, but know that it's there, and know we don't want to keep using these tactics. All right. The other statements that I talked about, when we're validating the other person's experience and we're using words like we want to work together, we need to work together, tough love, basically, or love, that's also going to have an impact on the person that you're talking with. It may be the motivation that's necessary for that person to actually make a change because you weren't like hammering into them. It also creates stronger boundaries. Now they know they can't cross you again. You weren't mean and nasty about it, but they understand where you stand. These are the phrases that increase clarity and awareness. They help strengthen your relationship by building trust. And that's what this entire thing is about. So, what I want you to remember, a person that is having a mental health challenge, they are already struggling. They are probably already feeling like they are being crushed under the weight of whatever the symptoms are. And I know some people might argue with me and be like, a little weight ain't never hurt nobody. It's character building. Who told you it was your job to do that? Life is hard enough. Life will bring enough storms, okay? You choose to be the shelter and help that person weather those storms. It is going to strengthen your relationships. It may even save a life. Yes, it is that serious. Our words have meaning, they are important. Okay, so now you're ready to make a change and you want to figure out, well, Tatiana, how do I know if what I'm saying is gaslighting or if I am using tough love? There are three things you need to check: what is happening inside of you, what's happening around you, and then what's happening ahead of you. This is what I mean. Inside, what is your motivation? The words that I am about to speak, is it going to help the person in front of me to grow, or is this about keeping myself comfortable? So when I say around me, I'm talking about the emotional climate. Am I in the headspace to deliver my message in a way that is healthy? And is that person in a space to actually receive the message? When I say ahead, this is where we're checking for impact. You ask yourself, well, would I feel ashamed or embarrassed or hurt if I heard these words? Just the act of pausing to ask yourself these questions before you just open up this very vulnerable conversation will help to strengthen your relationship, because you're thinking, you're not, acting out of anger. You're not using tactics that are going to you're not using tactics that are going to create shame in the other person. And that's helpful. So the line between gaslighting and tough love exists. And sometimes we cross that line without even knowing it. My hope is that the knowledge in this video has made that really thin line turn into a really wide canyon, one that is deep enough for us to pause, to reflect, and to think about what we're going to say before we say it. And I want us to always choose love over manipulation. And we're going to practice that right now in the comments. What does love sound like when it's both healing and honest? And I want you to let that guide your next conversation. If you like this video and you want more tips to help you navigate those difficult mental health conversations, y'all already know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things. Talkticians, I will see you in the next one.